What a great day to finally practice some battle. Oh, cool, a new dev update. Well, no rush, I can read it later. Okay, I guess I'll read it now. Oh, fuck. Alright, it's that time again. Another dev update, another video. As some of you may know, I tried to cover most of the info released about V-Rising, going from the initial information that came with the teaser, to the first dev update, to the interview with the Russian MMO site. I never mentioned the screenshots or social media posts because I planned to briefly discuss them in community tab posts. Turns out, you need 1,000 subscribers to get a community tab, so that's not happening anytime soon. That's when I decided to include them in this video. And while I was doing that, I thought to myself, why don't I just make a video where I cover everything I know so far? But then I realized, only a madman would try to combine these 3 videos, while also mixing in all the screenshots, social media posts, and the new dev update. So that's exactly what I did. This wall is filled with everything I know about V-Rising. Most of it relevant, some of it, not so much. By the end of this video, you will know everything that I know about the game's world, PvE, PvP, multiplayer, and release schedule, which at this point is a sizable amount, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. V-Rising is a new vampire-themed sandbox survival game developed by Stunlock Studios. The game takes place in a dark and brutal gothic open world. However, the stylization is more playful and has some subtle humor mixed in to contrast the darkness. The team takes inspiration from various horror movies, shows like Netflix's Castlevania, and classic horror literature, while looking at the local Swedish nature for world-building aspects. The world is filled with lush forests, open farmlands, caves, and dungeons. I already know the names of some of these locations, such as the place you can see in this screenshot, which is called the Cursed Forest. And from this Twitter post, I know that the Dunley farmlands are a place that exists, but I'm not sure if Dunley is the name of a town, a region, or the entire world the game takes place in. And don't worry about this guy, I'll get back to him later. V-Rising has a day-night cycle. As a vampire, you have to avoid the sun, as any extended exposure to sunlight will burn you to ashes. There is gear and items that will improve your sun resistance. Humans won't spot you as easily in the dark, which gives you advantages when hunting at night. There's also a difference in what type of enemies you will encounter during the day and night, with some creatures only roaming the world at night. There are no loading screens between regions and different areas. The only loading screen is between the starting zone and the rest of the game world. Speaking of the starting zone, this hasn't been confirmed, but I believe this is the starting zone. And let me show you why. This was one of the first in-game screenshots to come out of the Twitter account. This could mean that it's one of the earlier areas in the game. Also, notice how the layout of this room almost perfectly matches the layout of the room where the vampires wake up in the teaser trailer. And if that isn't enough, this other screenshot shows a room with the exact same character and the exact same pillars, basically confirming this is the same room. And this character is staring at a closed door. Now, why would this door be closed? Maybe because it's the only loading screen in the game. Mounts are the most effective way to travel the world of V-Rising. When you find your horse, you don't want it slain by enemy vampires, so be sure to take care of your trusted steed. You can use your weapon while riding, but you cannot use spell kits. You can customize your character. So far, I don't know how far character customization goes, but judging from these screenshots, you can at least change your hairstyle and facial hair. The game does have a story, however, most of it has already taken place before you arrived, and it went a little something like this. A long time ago, vampires dominated the world. Humans were at their mercy, until they made a pact with a mighty supernatural power. It blasted the vampires with a force of holy light, sending them fleeing in terror to hide. Over 8 centuries later, the truth about the Great War faded away into legend. Until now, vampires have returned with power and purpose to reclaim what was once theirs. V-Rising's world is full of creatures to encounter and locations to conquer. You can raid bandit camps and pillage villages. Just be careful for scouts who will warn the local militia of your presence. See? I told you would see him again. There is a faction system, so you can see confrontations between different NPCs. Bandits attacking farmers, wolves attacking bandits, and so on. The world is full of dangerous creatures, including but not limited to the cursed undead, undead priests, the broodmother, witches, werewolves, bears, and some that don't even have official names yet, such as the Spooky Boys, Gamer Posture, and Rudolph the Radioactive Reindeer. Humans and vampire hunters patrol the world, so you need to stay alert if you want to survive. They are hostile, so don't expect much if any interaction with them outside of combat. Since you are a vampire, you need blood. You can even use different types of blood to give yourself various buffs. Blood can buff your physical damage, movement speed, magic damage, and gathering skill. The quality and perks of blood differs from human to human, so you'll need to choose your victims with care. Now onto progression. How do you actually get stronger in this game? Well, your progression is directly linked to your castle. Technically speaking, you can play without a castle, but you won't get very far. There are over 50 castle ruins on the map available for you to claim. You can use your castle as a base for you and possibly your clanmates to store your loot. In your castle you can craft a variety of weapons such as a sword, a spear, a shield, a crossbow, and a scythe called the Iron Reaper. Actually, I'm not 100% sure you can use the scythe in combat, since its only use mentioned in the dev update is to chop wood? Nope, never gonna work. There's also the possibility you can pick up an enemy's weapon after you've beaten them in combat, but that hasn't been confirmed. However, if that is the case, it would also add a hammer, a pitchfork, and a magic staff to the mix. You can explore the world to find recipes and resources for crafting special rooms with unique perks. There are decorations you can use to personalize your domain and create the dungeon you always dreamt of. You can expand your castle with workshops, libraries, and prisons, and upgrade your castle rooms to gain access to higher tiers of equipment and spell kits. Then you can combine your weapons with these powerful spell kits that work similar to Battle-Right champion abilities. Other players can and will try to raid your castle, so you need to create walls to protect yourself and your belongings. To help you defend your castle, you can build an army of vampire servants. You get these servants by hunting down and converting human warriors, archers, and mages to grow your army of darkness. They will protect your domain, work on your crafting stations, and stand ready to do their master's bidding. Every servant will need their own coffin. V-Rising's combat is inspired by Battle-Right, so WASD controls and skill shots aimed at your cursor are crucial to winning battles. However, strategy is more important than ever, since megalomaniac vampire clans aren't the only threat in this world. Supernatural beasts, vampire hunters, angry nuns, garlic, silver, holy areas, sunlight, and more will take you out if you're not careful. PvP is always on, but there's no friendly fire between players in the same clan. If you do die, you end up back where you started, naked in a coffin. All your equipment and items drop where you died, so be sure to run back and collect them before someone else does. The game uses a top-down camera that is slightly tilted and can be rotated 360 degrees. There will also be a weapon switch that allows you to quickly swap weapons mid-combat, hopefully allowing for some devastating combos. V-Rising, like previous Stunlock Studios games, is a multiplayer action game first. Players host private servers with the possibility to choose to play solo and co-op in a less competitive environment or go full war mode in PvP. You can have up to 4 players in a clan and somewhere between 40 and 80 players per server. Server settings and the final amount of players per server is still being worked on. In the first dev update, they said they were looking into having support for public servers hosted by trusted partners, but that feature hasn't been confirmed. The game will go into a closed beta, planned later this year, then to early access and eventually the full release. The devs hope to show the first gameplay footage during late summer. In the meantime, we will get updates in the form of social media posts and dev updates. I'll leave a link to all their socials and the beta sign up link in the description. The devs already have a playable build and the fundamentals are in place, but there are still many features to finalize and a vast world to build before starting the closed beta and letting all the thirsty vampires in. Stunlock Studios does plan to continue updating the world and adding content after the release. How they scale the game is as always dependent on how many players they have. For those of you who would like to support the development progress, you can join the V-Rising Discord and ask questions the next time they collect them for a dev update. Those questions are an excellent way to understand what players want to see in the game and what we consider important. Player feedback will of course be crucial during both closed beta and early access. All content and YouTube videos made by us is also appreciated. Any help with spreading the word about the game means a lot. Anything for you, my king. And that's everything I know about the game so far. I hope you learned something new, and if you didn't, you should probably go outside and touch some grass or something, I don't know.